How did you come about this idea? Just like the problem, how you're solving for it.
Of
Is there any
M-Copa?
guilt involved?
Damn. We're right to the white guilt.
So when there's, let's call it white money comes in and it has specific agenda, it muddies the water for like a genuine Kenyan investor
Absolutely.
who is trying to build his own app to sell fish in Kisumu.
I mean, when you have companies that keep receiving subsidies every 18 months to 2 years of injection of equity and can run unprofitable businesses, there's real Kenyan business people that would like to compete in those businesses and are sort of displaced.
How about you create impact in like your organization by by hiring right, you know?
I'll check on the whites WhatsApp group.
That's just fun, isn't there?
It's all whites globally, yeah. When they had like a intern show up who's like 24 years old, coming from Canada, bright-eyed, she's doing her master's in poverty economics, so she knows more about how to deal poverty.
My thing about white people is that you always have to, the 48 powers of law. If you're smarter than them and better than them, don't ever show it them. Fuck Ruto, man. He always says you must go. Let him go. Honestly. I can't stand that guy. Hello. Welcome back. It's been a hot minute since you saw us three. Well, we have someone new doing an interview. But yeah, we have a very special guest today, M-Corpo founder. If you guys don't know M-Corpo.
Co-founder. Yeah.
Co-founder.
Yeah,
well,
that's right.
It's all good. You want to give us an intro?
Yeah, Chad Larson. I moved to Kenya in 2011 to found M-Copa, and have since moved on and am now the CFO of a company called Kopo, and have done several other things in the meantime as well.
Okay.
That's me.
Yep. How's the journey been as a M-Copa founder? I mean, that's huge.
First, I think you have a conflict to disclose, Chris. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I work for a company that's a M-Copa competitor called Mophones, selling refurbished phones on credit. Similar to M-Copa, but more of a premium
Yeah, I
market.
think these guys are dealing with the poor of the poor. You're dealing with more.
The rich people.
I'm
Yeah.
no longer.
Not really rich. If they were rich, they could afford to buy a phone, offer it. Yeah, absolutely.
Different market segmentation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not an M-Copa employee. I don't have a day job there anymore, but I'm still a shareholder, so I'm invested in their success. But I wish you guys luck as well. There's room in the market for competition is good. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Mophones guys, I'll steal some
Ideas.
wisdom from him.
So I guess for me, I'm really curious. How did you come about this idea? Just like the problem, how you're solving for it.
Of
Is there any
M-Copa?
guilt involved?
Damn. We're right to the white guilt. Well, I went to business school in the UK after working in investment banking for a long time. And that's where I met my two co-founders. And they both knew a lot about Kenya and specifically the M-Pesa system. And both had kind of worked on it in various capacities. And I think they had good instincts that the fact that you could send 50 shillings across distance with no friction would enable new business models. And they were kind of fascinated in thinking of different things, and including what became M-Copa. So I just freeloaded off them because I was a finance guy, which they needed because they didn't know, that part of the business. Like the rest, they had the technology kind of vision that this was going to create new business models, which it has, including your company.
While sticking out to the white guilt part.
Yes, we're back to white guilt.
Let's dig deep into that.
When I read a lot of comments, especially for the videos that we do, a lot of people think of fintech in Africa, especially set up by the white people, as an extractive sector, because they're like, okay, you're taking all the money from all the small people, though you're giving them a device, but all that profit, all that money goes back into another
country. I mean, most executives, if we look at the current structure, and a lot of these startups, they don't live here. They're in London. They're in California. They're not based in Kenya or based in the country they operate in. It's kind of
let me answer the question like from a different angle. So let's just like zoom out. It's like you were in this vibrant, growing economy, right? You agree, like Nairobi's growing. You were away for a while and came back, and you saw the difference, right?
Yep.
The economic growth, you can see it in front of your eyes, yeah? And so when that happens, like people want to invest and locals, but foreigners also see the opportunity because maybe they're from a country that has less opportunity. And that's, these are kind of economic immigrants or investors who come, maybe somebody from South Sudan who's going to come clean houses, or maybe it's a Chinese developer who's going to come build an apartment building, right? But like this is generally a good thing when foreigners invest in your country. If they're profit seeking, I think what's happened in the sort of the space that you talk about, Wangari, is like this impact investment has come in, and these are not always profit-seeking companies. There's sometimes NGOs under a different name where, they have frequent injections of capital from impact investors who advertise all the good things that they do to their constituents or their investors. And then, so that's different because you've got sort of maybe companies here that are not that don't have a profit motive from, because if the Chinese developer builds one and he fails, he'll maybe not invest again, right? Like he won't keep doing new ones and then advertise back in China about how he's building housing for poor people or something, right? So right, so that's sort of, I think that's kind of the problem that the industry has got, or like basically these types of companies that are funded by well-meaning foreigners.
But there's someone who we're in a WhatsApp war of words in a group, and one of the argument the person put through was that, so when there's, let's call it white money comes in, and it has specific agenda, it muddies the water for like a genuine Kenyan investor,
absolutely,
who is trying to build his own app to sell fish in Kisumu.
I mean, when you have companies that keep receiving subsidies every 18 months to 2 years of injection of equity and can run unprofitable businesses, there's real Kenyan business people that would like to compete in those businesses and are sort of displaced because they can't run their business at a loss like the ones, like other ones can. It's a problem. And I don't know if the investors that kind of came in 10 years ago or so really know the way out of this, because some of these have become very prominent companies that are sort of the stars of their portfolio as far as impact, but can't survive without ongoing injection of capital.
Okay. For yourself, how would you characterize impact?
Yeah, good question. Yeah. What is impact?
I mean, this might sound like kind of heartless capitalist, but like I think the best thing is like if you can create a company and then it can survive eventually off of the payment that its customers make to it. So whatever you're delivering to your customers, you're able to deliver for less than what they pay. Yeah. It's like you're probably creating value for society. Like there's a reason you're being paid for that. Like profitable businesses, like you see this, like well-run places succeed and grow, and poorly run places tend to fail. And it's like the way this kind of rewards it, right? Like in the normal cycle, like that's impact. I mean, this like, here's a little contrarian opinion. Like KFC came to Kenya, right? Yep. Like, and they came like years before because they had to get the whole kind of poultry supply chain like up to the standards where they knew batch numbers, where if they found a problem in a batch, they could immediately, all these things that maybe weren't there in Kenya, and also like a chain of refrigeration where it was never in a situation it wasn't refrigerated. So that ever so slightly kind of built up, raised the bar on the Kenyan economy. And KFC was not coming here for impact. They were coming here to make money. But in the meantime, like the supply chain for poultry is way safer now, or in certain sectors. Like that to me, that like that possibly that's made more impact than one of the big foundations you might know that's done a bunch of work here.
So. And for me, like something as impact to me is something as small as these companies or these white founders who come and start up companies is, for example, just helping create jobs and creating jobs, even just at an executive level. I've sat in startups where executives are only of a certain color, they have certain characteristics. And when you question and you ask, you're like, I'm pretty sure I know like 10 people who could be a great CTO, but you choose to hire the person who's in Canada, who's earning dollars, who you're paying them
Right.
so much. Like I
Yeah.
understand, like, yeah, the economy is growing. I agree with that. But, like, is there, and I'm sorry, you might not have all the answers for all the white
I'm
founders.
sure I can't. I'll check.
But it's like,
I might have
to me,
to-
it's just like, you
I'll check on
say impact, but that's so
Yeah.
far-fetched. How about you create impact in, like, your organization by, like, by hiring right, you know?
I'll check on the whites WhatsApp group.
Yeah, that's just fun, isn't there?
It's all whites globally. Yeah. It's been pretty calm these days.
Yeah.
We had like a few years ago, we had a real bad summer when like George Floyd got killed. It was like we were all like, shit, we got to stop being so racist. But then it calmed down.
Okay, good.
So, I mean, this I think is part of like the question about what the exit strategy is for these impact investors. Because I think, let's just say an investor that started funding impacty businesses in Kenya 10 years ago, and like, they knew it had white management because that's who they knew and that was their network, and they're not going to back some unknown person that might run off with the money. And this person's in their network because they went to the same business school or whatever it might be, right?
Yep.
So they think it's like there's less chance it's a fraud, right? But like the exit strategy kind of had to be there, not just on like building sustainable institutions, if that's what they're after, but also like you can't really run a business in the long term that has Kenyan shilling revenues and US dollar expenses. I mean, there's some minimum US dollar expenses that you're going to have in any business here because we import, a lot of things, right? But then you don't want more than that. Like you really need like a Kenyan. You need like, you can pay very good wages, but ultimately like it's got to be in Kenyan shillings because otherwise you just have this existential risk. And that we saw it last year. And I know that the currency is stabilized, but like the shilling goes from 130 to 165 in a year. That's going to wipe, like it might destroy the company if it's got a lot of debt on its balance sheet as well. Like that might wipe out all the equity. And so you just can't run a business that way. Mm-hmm. In the early days, maybe you have to, like maybe the only people that you can hire like want to be paid in, I don't know, dollars, and maybe you can only borrow dollars to fund stuff, your working capital. But like the goal has got to be to move off that as quickly as possible. Otherwise you're not building a sustainable organization that can survive on what its customers pay, which proves it's creating value. It's basically built on like continuous largesse of well-meaning foreigners. And like, I think they're going to have to figure out a way out to transition this. No. I mean, in some cases they just let them fail, right? Like some have gone bankrupt.
Yep.
Do you think there should be affirmative action for foreign companies where it's like, hey, if you're foreign founded, half your C-suite should be for local Kenyan or something like that?
Maybe I'll not give you the answer. I think one of the great things about Kenya is like they don't meddle in like private business like that. No. I think it's more the responsibility of
the owners,
or the impact investors who sort of advertise, who put like the poverty porn on their websites, right? Like, look at these beautiful African kids with our products,
flies on their faces.
Yeah, right. They need, like they maybe are the ones I think have the responsibility because they're often have board, they have board seats and they have control, they have significant control over these companies. So I think the investors kind of have quite a bit to account for here and like figuring out the way out.
Because I think that's
other than just letting the companies go like bankrupt in a messy way,
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the general feeling. If you take like the top startups in Kenya that raised money, and everyone's like, oh, at the bottom of the pyramid are all Kenyans, and as you scale up to the mid-management to C-suite, to the CEOs, like, okay, the shade changes as you. I think, let me give you an example. In Tanzania, they almost force you to have like part of your management to be locals.
Yep.
Right.
Whether that works out for you, it might kill your business because you don't find the right talent.
Right.
But in Kenya, we don't, like you said, we don't do that.
They kind of don't, you don't mess with private companies so much about how they want to run their affairs.
Yeah. But I'll say like the attitude people have, it's okay, Kenyans are only good for low level.
KYM.
Yes, it would say that. And then part of
But that's
impact,
not true.
I mean, that's
definitely not true.
There's examples of companies that operate like that, but there's complete other examples where it's like Kenyans are running big companies and making it rain without any help from foreigners.
Yeah.
In the tech space as well. Yeah.
So there's the perception and there's the reality. Because actually startups that don't even shout a lot, they're fully Kenyan, running their own business. And then you have the perception angle, whereas like especially when you have one or two startups which are the stars of the startup environment. Everyone's like, oh, let's cherry pick and say, oh, we don't have a Kenyan here. We don't have a Kenyan thereabout. So as part of impact, and as other people would define it differently, it's like, okay, let's come in and say upskill and say like, oh, we have tons of experience from San Francisco. We've run startups all over the world. How do you respond to that line of thinking?
It sounds pretty condescending to me.
Absolutely. That's a word of it. I once ran in a startup where the CTO was from Canada or something. Google. Didn't know how to do USSD.
They don't use.
It's just like you're in Africa, bro.
Who uses USSD? They have apps in Canada.
It's like, bro, you can't use that context. Like, this is like you're dealing with that
USSD
population.
is a poor man's
But
technology.
we are in a poor man country. So that's why I'm just always, I think I said there's a mismatch of like what we need and what they perceive they need. You don't need someone who's as sophisticated as like that.
Let me tell you a slightly fictional story based on a true story about like how some Kenyan employees I know became radicalized by this sort of thing. Is when they had like a intern show up who's like 24 years old, coming from Canada, bright-eyed. She's doing her master's in poverty economics, so she knows more about how to deal poverty. And she's volunteering her time as an intern. She's only receiving a slight stipend for housing of 180,000 shillings a month. So it's like that is like when some Kenyans I know became radicalized. That's based on a true story.
Okay.
But you can picture, right?
Yeah.
The Kenyans being told what
poverty is.
how to think about poverty.
I'm like, I'm poor.
Like,
it's just
dude,
like, I live it every day.
So you think I don't know poor people, right?
It's a privilege, and I guess
There's
God.
interesting story connected to that. So it did a lot of research at iHub on just almost anything, especially technology related. And so iHub was very close to Kibera. So when a researcher comes in and they're housed at iHub, the closest place you could take them to do field interviews was Kibera. Then after the interviews, you pay some stipend to the people you interview. Now, one of the effects was that now people knew that there were people coming in to do interviews. So they have prepped answers.
Of course.
So that they need that money, whether it's 1,000 or 2,000 Kenya shillings.
Yeah.
So at some point,
it is no point.
There's an economy running of like, okay, you're the typical person we want to interview and all that. So you'd come in Kenya, you send to Kibera, you get prepared answers.
Right. The wrong outcome.
You do your report, and this is what I figured out. So I don't know who figured it out, but at some point it's like now Kibera is a saturated market for interviewing.
Well, I got you got to hold sort of whoever's being taken on those tours. It's like if you're not clever enough to know, and just all you have to do is ask a couple questions deep, and if somebody's been coached, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If somebody with press training, it's like they say something and you ask like another question deep, and they kind of deflect, and then it falls apart. It's like okay, I see when somebody's being prepped.
But I don't think a lot of the people ended up discovering that.
Yeah.
Just living in your bubble.
Yeah.
But if you...
There's a lot of very optimistic people in the sector who like want to see the good story and tell the good story back in Europe or North America or whatever.
Yeah, the only thing you're going to be judged by is how good your paper was if you're an academic. And if you're in the impact NGO world, is you produce a pamphlet or a report that has nice photos and you send it back, and that's the end of it. Although those people benefited from money going to Kibera, currency going into there. But for me, when I think about impact,
it's only that one little part. It's the tourist part of Kibera, kind of near Olympic Estate, where all those NGOs kind of have their thing, and then like you can go on kind of safe tours. I don't think they'll just let you free range Kibera. Like you just enter at any point.
No, they're like,
it's that. Have you been to that kind of like? There's a lot of
it's a well organized.
right?
thing. You can't just decide you're walking in there, you're interviewing
It's a
anyway.
business in itself.
It is. And there's NGOs that have been there like 20 years solving like water, or like supposedly whatever it might be. And like nothing seems to like
None
or
to
change. Or if
yeah.
it's changing, it's not coming from you, right?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's
Anyway,
an interesting space.
What do you think? You seem to have some, based on your line of questioning, you seem to have some opinions. So can I interview you now?
I'm not to be
like, what do you think about the impact investment space? You've spoken to a lot of people here.
I mean, I'm not in this. I'm of the opinion like there are businesses out there, Kenyan-run businesses that never received a dime, and just figured out how to run a business, whether it's slow. They're not like at podiums on conferences. And those are the businesses I respect. And I love I think we've interviewed so many people in this show, so many founders.
I think I liked the Prothea who are creating like low cost prosthetics for people. If someone in the slum gets into a motorcycle accident, which happens very often, prosthetics are very expensive. So using that as an example, for me, I see impact coming in from an innovative perspective where you create a product either cheaper, or you have very good distribution, where you can get it to it faster, you can get it to it in a way that other conventional businesses can't. But cash transfers, I think, never work. I think studying, what's the carbon emission for people living in rural area? If you can make, I think the energy market has tried to get like
carbon credits.
Not carbon, what do you call them? Like this GECOs that are more efficient. I'm not sure how successful they are.
Cocoa networks?
Yeah, like Cocoa, there is Ban.
I don't know what happened. What happened to them? Still around?
They're still there. I've seen their booths are still available there.
Yeah.
They've not cracked it yet, I think. That's my opinion. But if they can find a way, it's like, okay, instead of you used to spend 100 shillings on your charcoal, now you can spend 50 shillings on a better solution. To me, that's how I like impact.
Yeah, those are great products, that they have, like, when you use those things, you put so little charcoal in there and it goes up it gets hot so fast.
Yeah,
those are good. I mean, that said, is like there's headwinds when your product is a $40 product and like you're competing against a bunch of people who can survive on very low margins and fabricate it locally, because you always have the alternative of the other GECO. It's not like you're throwing away all your other GECOs. It's like you can get another one anytime, right? And you're going to keep both, and it's and you're going to kind of use based on whatever. But it's a risk people to put down $40 for something that they're used to using something else for a long time that seems to work pretty well.
Yeah, and I think that's where the rest of like carbon credits, I think it's just some
bullshit.
That's all. It's green or whatever environment.
I mean, carbon credits, aren't they just like NFT? It's like a different thing. It's like it's basically this fictional sort of digital creation we've created that we award to people that we think have done good things.
Yeah, and
I mean, those are, by the way, those are great products. I really like those products. But like, the carbon credit side, like,
I think the carbon credit angle is nonsense.
I prefer shillings. I prefer the kind of shillings people pay that I can pay my payroll with, that I can buy goods and services with.
It's an alternative. What you have, it's cheaper or comparable. Mm-hmm. Can you use it in your house? Do you use it daily? I think that's when you see people with their it's like a sort of jerry can where they go to refill their. What do you call them?
The ethanol.
Yeah, for that. I should, when you see somebody slinging that thing and they go to that booth and put in the money, you feel like, okay, this is now something usable. It's something tangible. Now, how do you get them completely off their GECO into depending on this? Now, that's a better
outcome
solution. And if they get scale, I feel like that's impact. They'll stay there for 20, 30 years.
Yeah. I mean, you've given like a couple examples that like impacty type investors really love, because it's like the benefits there. You can really see the benefits of those GECOs that burn less, it's like less smoke. It's like, it's pretty much better all around. And then you can spreadsheet out that it's cheaper, though. It's like, it's always like your experience may differ. It depends, of course, how you use it and whether it makes sense. Yeah. But, and then the prosthetic leg, of course, like you can probably can go raise money off that you talked about that right now. Go raise money for your new prosthetic. But the kind of the ones that are like, just think about this. They're would you agree that like there's fewer houses with thatched roofs in Kenya today than there were 10 years ago?
Yep.
Absolutely.
And more with mabati?
Yep.
And would you
Absolutely.
agree that the people who live there much prefer the mabati?
Absolutely.
And mabati, you might not know, like the price of mabati has not gone up with inflation. It's gotten cheaper relatively, and then transport links have gotten better. And all these people have a better product. No impact investor is going to fund a steel mill rolling mabati. In fact, the opposite. They get teary-eyed when they think about like the thatched roofs because they think, the traditional lifestyle, and it looks so good. My photos, oh my God, my photographs. Like people knew I was in Africa with those thatched roofs. These metal roofs, I could be in
Absolutely.
East St. Louis. Right?
Yeah, I was trying to set up so you come from Homer Bay and it gets very hot over there. So to me, I'm like the mabati does not make any sense. Like attached room is
better.
better cooling.
Okay.
So I tried to get somebody to like just get costing. It's way expensive.
Is it?
Yeah, it's way expensive having attached roof over the mabati. On top of that, mabati roof you can capture the rain, water, and have like a small tank there, so it has additional benefits. And also think it has a prestige thing that it feels like you're much now more developed.
It's more modern.
It's more modern than attached.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like,
Yeah.
I could dig a like a well to get my water. I need my thatched roof because it's very
Hot.
cool.
Yeah,
It's very
sure.
hot there. And all this, I think, like the mabati rolling mills and all those companies that set up those mabatis, they just sat down. We want to build this. How can you make it cheap?
Yeah, they want to make
They
it
have
cheaper.
great distributions. Almost all small towns, you'll find there's a distributor in there. Rarely something startups think about
Right.
when you want to think about distribution in Nairobi is given, but outside Nairobi,
It's hard.
it's extremely hard to set up distributions. On
Just
that.
gets more and more expensive.
But I guess what I'm hearing you say is like impact investment follows like, good poverty Africa stories.
Like the prosthetic leg one is a great story. And if you were an impact investor funding that company, you'd be putting pictures of those people all over your website. The Mabati one, which is probably like brought more impact to more people.
Exactly.
Right. Is like, that's never like, that doesn't like, the people in Europe and North America don't like it. Like, I want to see these people live like traditional lifestyles because I want to believe that there's some like, sort of untainted, people out there.
It's not sexy.
It's not sexy, right?
And I think, have we had any successful agriculture-based startup in Kenya?
Trigger?
And I thought Trigger is now in the deathbed.
Have they? They've been there for a while. They're not yet gone. They're hanging on.
Which the other one?
They're hanging on.
Grow Intelligence also went down.
That's dead. Yeah. I mean, Trigger's still hanging on to something, I think.
No.
I don't know. I'm not in on the gas.
I haven't heard officially they're dead.
Yeah. I mean, I know they were losing boatloads of money, and the way is just like, look at the history of the press releases of the fundraise, and if they say we raised another $20 million equity, another $40 million, it's like that's their cumulative losses that they've plugged, right? Like that's the way to figure out how much a company's lost is like add up their press releases on how much equity they've raised.
So I was about to say the biggest poverty porn was in agriculture, I think.
Yeah.
Like where the farmers, you're trying to help the farmers have better yield, get them better inputs, help them get to the market in whichever section of that. And in my opinion, in how everyone was trying to approach the market, the agriculture sector, my opinion was like, the only problem is the market. If you're able to guarantee that I can sell my produce at a good price, I'll do whatever is necessary to get this crop. And I think for the production side, the government for the scheduled crops, coffee, sugar, tea, the government streamlines everything from production, transportation, and all that. And they're told, worry about your farm will guarantee you a price. Then I thought no one came in and said, okay, we want to guarantee you the price of your maize. We want to increase your yield. And then on the day you produce,
we'll figure it out.
No. Everyone else in Trans Nzoia and Kitale has produced their maize, so your bag goes from 6,000 shillings
to
3,000 shillings. Then you're not motivated and all that. So I felt everyone in agriculture took a wrong path to solving a problem. Then everyone.
But there's still
Yeah.
what's this? But it's an NGO, I guess.
Which
1
one?
acre.
Yeah.
1 acre.
I don't know.
NGO though.
Yeah, it's NGO, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some of this stuff, it's like, there's some business models out there that I think is just like, they see a fragmented market, whether it's like schools, private schools, or agriculture. They see like a lot more handoffs than what they see in North America or wherever. And so it's like, they just need a smart person to come. It's like sort of a central planning fallacy. It's like, I can come in, I can be smart enough to like all these middlemen who are kind of these handoffs of the maize to this guy, to that guy, before it gets processed and sold. It's like, I can just be smarter. And I kind of find it like this sort of central planning fallacy. It's like on a spreadsheet, yes, everything looks more efficient on a spreadsheet. Like this is why the Soviets fell for it, right? It's like, why have 3 different cement companies when you can have one? Like that must be more efficient. Yeah. And it's sort of, you take out all the complex ecosystem of the competition and profit motive and stuff like that. So that's what I think the problem with some of those models. And you see that in education here. It's like, it's fragmented. There should be some coordinated curriculum across whatever. And if the teachers just had iPads, and then the agriculture ones, like if these farmers just had iPads and like could see all the real time price and accept bids and offers, and I'm the smart guy because look at me, I've got an MBA in poverty economics.
But I mean, there's a point when you raise the money and, like you said, you think you can solve it, and you realize actually this is not as easy as I thought it would be.
Of course.
Yeah,
but you just keep going instead of
that's a problem.
Like,
it's one thing if it's like a pure for-profit investor, like let's have a go, and if it works, great, and if it doesn't, we'll stop. But it's like once you're in and you're losing money because it's not working for the things you said, it's like stop doing that. And because of impact investors, the investors in Europe would be like, don't stop doing that because I've got some great photographs of that guy, right? And like my investors want to see him again in the annual report next year, and so like they want to continue this unprofitable business because
it's just that's one thing that
I mean,
it's just
this yeah, I mean, your experience. If you work for one of these and you're a friend, if you're like a parent at my kid's school, I don't mean you. I mean everybody else. All the other impact investors do this, but not you. That was at the barbecue the other day. Yeah, I don't want to be exiled from the white community.
Yeah,
you can't. Don't worry.
If I look on the whites group and like Chad has been removed by the administrator. Yeah,
You're actually the first white guy we've actually interviewed. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
So congratulations.
Is that right? Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, now, Chris, you've given a bunch of opinions. I've given a bunch of opinions. I want to hear one opinion from you, Wangari. Don't
About
just
what?
give some generalization about impact investment in this industry.
I mean, I think
you kind of talked around it when I asked you before.
I think it's crap. I don't think we should do it. I don't think it's the way to build businesses that are sustainable in Africa. I do think the white people need to step aside and let Kenyans. The Kenyans are very capable. Kenyans are very smart. They can do stuff. Maybe you can say, maybe you're missing in this aspect. But I do love made in Kenyan company with a Kenyan founder doing stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
I mean, one thing, it's kind of
because it always feels like we're begging you guys. Oh, please give me money. Oh, please look at me.
But we are begging.
I don't want to beg for money.
We don't have the money.
I can get the customers, but I won't get it as fast as you.
I'm not sure that's true.
Even I'm not sure that's true.
If you let me throw in a spanner here. If you watch Trump in his White House every day,
he's
welcoming presidents begging for money. Like, we have crime, give us money.
That is the trauma of our presidents who always like begging. Kenya is in a part of a revolution where we want to change that narrative.
I have this opinion that if we cut down on our waste and corruption and all these things, we can have enough money to take care of our problems, right? But we are not.
But Chris, if you want to get the richest right now, if you ask any Kenyan, what is the one way to get there?
Being rich?
Yeah, in Kenya.
Steal.
Yeah, but how? How do I steal if I don't
join government?
Exactly.
Have fictitious tenders.
That is the mindset, and that is what.
No, that's not the mindset. That's the truth.
Not really. I mean, they think they're profitable businesses.
NGOs are a great place for people who want to run procurement scams because there's no owners watching the store.
Go to Nigeria as well.
If you look at the top 10 richest Kenyans.
No, I didn't say Nigerians. I said NGOs. I can't just sling shade at Nigerians on the podcast. All right, keep going.
They want to beat you all. The white man in that podcast.
Oh, man.
It's going to give me headache. the richest top Kenyans, I think the first three are Indians. Running large manufacturing companies.
Because they're producing something and selling it to someone.
Which is the perfect entrepreneur.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they're competing in a competitive market.
Yeah.
There's no like people with kind of get teary-eyed when they see pictures of Africans sending them money for their business.
Yes.
And I don't think people are jealous about them. People just admire, like, this guy worked hard, came to Kenya with nothing and set up everything else. Then below that tier, there is now the corrupt African politician who lives off tenders and lives off government whatever. And then after that, there are the NGOs people there. And then there's the struggling black entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's the hierarchy of
wealth in Kenya.
Okay. Are we going to get abducted? Are we at a risk of being abducted?
Never. We've never been abducted.
No, but everyone.
The impact investment industrial complex.
Yeah. if you ask any, like in the US or Europe, if you ask somebody how did you make your money, it's almost easy to tell how they made their money, especially if you're very rich. Beyond the billionaire Indians in Kenya, it's very hard to tell how someone made their money. Yeah. And that's where the shadiness.
And for me, that's why I'm so against impact investments. Like, I mean, also this, I co-founded a company with your friend, and it's just like, I can't constantly, first of all, there's a perception that someone needs this product. No one cares about your product half the time. If you're not solving immediate needs of like a typical, like, copper, the phone's important. But if you're not actually, don't bother do it. Yeah. Like even in a business, like I can run my business on Excel. All these fancy tools, probably when I grow. But there's this lie that has been sold to so many founders. And we see them all the time here when they come for Fish Tank. You're like, bro, just go and sell smokies. Have 55 of those. You'll be so rich. You know, it's just like coming back to basics. We've been brought an American culture, which doesn't really...
I mean, what's kind of funny, one thing I find ironic at some of these companies that have like a layer of white management on US dollars that are running, it's like all these people, like if you look at their CVs or LinkedIn, they're like from the NGO. They've never been, or a DJ
before you came here. And you're not CEO.
But like they don't have private sector experience. But then the layer of Kenyans below them all have private experience because they're all running side hustles. Yeah. They're selling chicken to their coworkers. They're selling whatever to their coworkers. They're selling shoes on Instagram.
And then they're like,
and they've been doing it for years, so they're doing it profitably. So like that person, but that's reporting to you is actually running like two profitable businesses. And you worked for like the NGO, studied Africa, and then came and sit there on a US dollar salary. And and so it's like the Kenyans can run this stuff. This idea that you don't have the entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, when I but
it's a very vicious like cycle, like, and I'll come back to even like organizations, these startups. It's like sometimes we joked about like the meme of the HR and the CEO.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Those two guys at the Coldplay concert. That is typical HR in Kenya. HR is not on your side. I actually always say HR should not even report to the CEO. They should be like a complete different entity who's like actually fighting for the rights of the employee. Fighting, why are you hiring this white person instead of hiring this really great person that's down below? Why do we have executives in London and California?
Right.
But if we don't have that, there's a lot of like, also a lot of neocolonialism in this like startups, which is just like, the white man pays me. The white man, I'm just like, I'm done. I'm tired. Like, let me go sell my smokies and figure out life.
Yeah. And then people can make a career of it, like working for these white people, because you just need to kind of learn the lingo, right? Like it's just the language, you know? Yeah, like you gotta say, like, you gotta refer to like the global South.
Sub-Saharan Africa.
I remember
$2 a day. Just start dropping these into your conversations.
I remember in some company I used to work back in the day, we had compiled a list of words. If someone mentions bingo. 2 of those words, you're like, bingo.
Yes,
like,
increasing access.
But this, I actually think, like, I think it's a real problem, and it will cause those kind of people then don't know how to run the side hustles. They're like, I know so many people, I'm like, you don't have a side hustle? Why don't you have a side hustle? You're Kenyan. That is like, sell chicken, sell bananas, figure it out. Because one day that side hustle is what will keep you. We're seeing right now there's not much investment coming into Kenya. It's like impact investment has just like...
It's been carnage.
There's nothing.
There seems to be a lot of other investment, though. There seems to be a ton of Chinese investment coming in.
Different type of
different
investment.
type.
But not just like the government building, affiliated agencies building the expressway, like just like private, like non-connected, like developers building apartment buildings, things like that.
But that's different.
Because it's very hard to bullshit on a building.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
And it's very easy to bullshit in tech.
But you want that impact investment to keep coming in based on what you've seen?
Based on what? I've not seen anything that makes me go, oh my gosh.
For
No,
me,
I mean that you have these zombie companies that lose money in distort markets and have a white entrenched management.
I think in tech, it's, as he says, in tech, it's so much easier to bullshit. Like you can,
in my opinion,
yeah,
I think they should come in.
yeah, even I can
For
agree.
one reason, because using this analogy, if your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather never ate poison, we would never have known what's good
It's
and what's
dangerous,
bad,
yeah.
right?
Okay.
So when those companies come in and like this year and last year, there was carnage of all these startups closing down and everything. Now we learn, and we say from one tragedy
Right.
to another. So we're like, oh, this is not how to run a business.
Yep.
So it tells us how not to run a business.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a big part of the like formal employment base. Like, because I can't tell. At first, I thought you were like impact investment. No, get the whites out. But now I think you're impact investment. Yeah. More needs to come in. These whites and stuff funding
I mean,
us.
I don't mind the whites coming in. Like if you're paying me for a service, sure. I keep telling people that pay me.
Some countries,
some
countries like China, they'll tell you like, oh, we want you to come in, but then they have their rules.
Yeah.
Yes. We don't seem to have stringent rules. We were like, hey, you come in, do your thing.
But isn't there the Startup Act? I saw there was some changes that were coming into...
I mean, I kind of think like if you're just like a pure private company, like you've been a good saver at your job and you're running a business, like then you can probably keep your affairs, private. I think once you start basically advertising the good you're doing for the people of Kenya through your investment, all of a sudden I think you need to reveal some data, like what % of your payroll is white people, by dollar, by whatever.
I mean, you've talked about something really important as well, the data that they're getting off, like companies, like I won't mention their names, but like they have a lot of data on like, I can like Grow Intelligence. They probably captured a lot of data. What happened to all that data they had? Did they
But it's their own data. It's private
But it's
company.
based on like, it's again very...
It doesn't matter. Also,
I know you don't think it matters.
No.
Think about something as important as health data, which I think matters. Your health data is more important than your financial data, in my opinion.
I think that's paranoia. Because we have Kenyan companies that collect the same data, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're not collecting it in the soft. Like usually, I like it when they just write things. You're like, this paper is gonna get lost very quickly. Like all this, like digitization that's happening.
This is my opinion about this. If you look at history, like in Japan was a closed country. Mm-hmm. They never wanted foreigners. They thought even up to date, they think foreigners would come and pollute their way of life. But over time, they realized the foreigners are developing better technology. They have better ways of doing business and all that. So they figured out, we have to figure out how to somehow bring these people into economy to modernize.
Yeah.
We will not let them come and overrun us and tell us how to do everything. But there are certain aspects of how they do things that are important for us.
Sure.
And I think that's the same approach we should take. The problem with Africa, Black Africa, is we never tend to have any standards. We've adopted everyone else's standards.
Poverty.
No, it doesn't matter. But even China, they're like, hey, we like how you do certain things. Bring it here. We will Chinanize it. We will make it our own way. Even funny thing, like even KFC, if they go to Japan, whatever burger or Coke you drink there is very different because they're like, oh, here we don't want sugar.
I think
we're talking a lot about KFC on this podcast. Are they a sponsor?
Yeah, no.
At least send us a few streetwise threes.
A Kenyan thing.
African thing.
No, I can't compare Kenyan and Nigerians.
Oh, Nigerians are
They're
proud.
very proud. As
They're
Kenyans
proud.
are not. We're not proud of our culture. We're
Nigerians
not.
will
We
be-
will.
And this, let me add to this story. As a time we went to do some job in Uganda, and in the evening we were walking with a colleague in Kampala, and they're all busy speaking Luganda and everything else. And sometimes we, okay, they speak good English and all that, but we're arguing about how their primary way of communicating is Luganda.
Yep.
Right? That's how they see themselves. They see themselves as the Baganda people,
Yeah.
and how they project who they are. Kenya, we're more of like English, right? How do I put it? We aspire more to what's outside, not what's
And that's
us,
why, that's why Kenyans are so great, but it is a balance, great at what they do.
So whatever comes in, we tend to ingest it as it is.
Yeah.
Whatever, if it's culture, if it's movie, it's everything else. And Nigeria will tend to interpret it from a Nigerian angle. Is this kujo? No pepe. Just add some pepe there.
Yeah,
It's good.
okay.
So
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
if you have,
Yeah,
a
I'll say
people-
this: like as an American, if you showed up in Kenya and you showed up in Nigeria, you'd feel way more of like a foreigner in Nigeria than you would in Kenya
Because
for sure.
we're very, it's who we are.
So when you have
Right.
that dynamic, it means you can be bulldozed by the Americans. You can be bulldozed
Absolutely.
by the other people, and that's a problem which you can't ascribe to
Yeah.
white people. That's a problem with your people.
It's our own, but I think it's like very deep rooted behavior we've learned from our parents. We were colonized very well. We took on things very well.
100%.
So it's just like, don't speak English, but very good at English. Other languages, not
Let's
a
start
must.
with our names. Look
Yeah,
at Nigerians'
absolutely.
names and
Ask
look at
us
our
because-
names.
Or the ones I'm fascinated with these little pockets that don't like absorb the do you listen to Alma Piano?
Yeah.
Like I'm fascinated by their names never are anything you can pronounce, and they never sing a word of that song in English. Never. There's nothing. There's
even and
this
it's
is like
gone
this is not
worldwide.
for you. It's like
Yeah, it's gone worldwide.
but it's become so fascinating because they even though they've got an international
think-
audience now,
Yeah.
they're not responding to that.
And they're proud
So I think
people.
those behaviors, you see a lot of those behaviors in the workplace in Kenya.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, how we ever going to get out of this cycle? If you you know in your head you disagree.
For that
yeah.
particular aspect, I don't blame the white person. I'll blame the black person. You should have your own standards. You should have your own way of doing things, so that when you have investments, when you have startups, business coming, it's like, okay, we like what they're doing. What can we take? I don't like the TZ model where you force it,
Yeah.
right? Because what happens in that scenario is, if a company is set up, I'll be the black guy in the company. I don't need to be competent.
The token person.
I don't need to bring in anything to the table. I know I'll be put in this company for.
It's a tough one because it makes Kenya very attractive for foreigners, and it helps us to grow economically. But also, you see,
But what we have to be comfortable with, I don't know whether we will be swallowed by that whiteness.
can we ever be swallowed with whiteness?
Oh yeah.
Not me. I refuse. I refuse.
I don't know. I mean,
to be swallowed with whiteness.
there's been very little talk about the long-term impacts of this impact investment in these kind of unprofitable, unsustainable companies with these layers of white management that basically prevent the company from being profitable, because if you have a huge US dollar cost base, you're just never going to get there. The shilling will depreciate against the dollar.
Absolutely.
Spoiler alert. And that's just the nature of fast-growing economies against mature economies like the US, like the fast-growing economy. Part of the growth is that your currency kind of goes down in value, but everybody's richer. Everybody's richer than they were 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Even with the shilling at 130, see what I mean? So you don't look back to the old days because Nairobi was poor then, and we didn't have KFC, our sponsors.
There's not KFC.
I don't know. I forgot where I was going with that monologue.
I wanted to join to your argument. I think last year when the shilling was getting hammered up to about 185,
Yeah.
the Ugandan shilling was not getting hammered that much. And one of the reasons was the Ugandan economy is less detached to the international monetary systems compared to Kenya. So such companies, like those impact companies, contribute to that connectedness of Kenya to the international monetary company. In Uganda, people will eat whatever they produce. So they will not have more money in the economy, but they're also less detached to the global mayhem.
Yeah.
So that if tomorrow Trump cuts off USAID, Ugandans are like,
I mean, that was a
Right.
huge impact.
Kenya right here and right now. People are like,
Oh my gosh.
oh my God.
Have you spent any time in Kampala?
Yes, I love Kampala.
I love it's like it's like if Nairobi went on like a juice cleanse and like all the toxins got removed. Like
Maybe
people
that's
just there's mature food at the side of the road like that nobody's stealing. There's just like you feel safe
Chugs,
everywhere. Like the average Ugandan is like at the very friendly end of the Kenyan. You know?
Yeah, I feel like it's chill. I feel like it's chill. So Nairobi's, I felt sometimes Nairobi's too much. It's just
Nairobi is just become a city with pissy people and everyone's just trying to get at you and the devil in you has to always come back. It's just like you feel always like, oh, Nairobi. You just need to.
but it's now a trade-off you have to make. Any city that is making
Yeah,
a
you're
lot of
making money.
money
Absolutely.
is
You're
insane.
And there's going to be grifters and hustlers and cons and pyramid schemes. Like these things are just a thing of high growth. It's like people think anything's possible, but then they're trying new stuff. And
Yeah, and there's a guy, a Nigerian, who wrote on Twitter that he went to New York and thought he was in Lagos. He was like, this place is dirty. This place is full of different things. Like, this is the character of
yeah,
City.
like cities which make a lot of money
Yeah.
and for that. So if you want to get away from that, I think there's less white savior complex in Uganda than there is in, I don't know, I'm assuming.
Nairobi's a more comfortable place for expatriates to come because they can get sushi and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like harder in Uganda.
No, that's
very nice.
Matoke and Rolex and
We're talking about sushi. What?
Yeah. They'll do that to show the local staff that they're one of them. They'll eat the matoke, but then I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Any thoughts? I mean, you've been in the startup space for quite a while. Any thoughts on like what's happening now and like
Yeah. Geez. I mean, I'm so no longer really plugged in on like the gossip of who's getting funded and stuff. I just found that to be like just cluttering my mind with stuff that didn't matter. Like I should be thinking about my customers and my staff.
Yeah.
And like if I think about that and thinking about the bottom line, right? And then like I don't care what some MBAs from Michigan State are doing, whatever. And by the way, like not to sound like ungrateful, like I was brought here funded with impact investment with MCOPA, so like I wouldn't have learned the lessons to where I am now. But I do think that industry needs a way out because they've built sort of some of these companies that are so big and so reliant on this funding that it's leading to a bad place.
what's your way out?
Well, I mean, just here's just one little idea for these ones that went bankrupt, for example. Like, if the impact investor knows, okay, they're constantly on this thing where they're running out of money, they raise more money, they're running out of money. You've seen it, right? And so it's like, they know it's like bankruptcy is inevitable. It's like, well, then the shares are going to go to zero anyway. So why not just transfer all of the shares to the employees who are still there, the Kenyan employees?
Who did this? Cash.
What? Does this sound like I'm plagiarizing or something?
No. It just rings bells.
But-
in my
and
But
mind.
the
then,
problem with that, I'm like, you're giving me shares worth zero.
Yeah.
Keep your shares. Give me my money.
And then inject like a last $1 million to see if these guys, because like I said, like once you clear out like the NGO, like the NGO people at the top or whatever, like these Kenyans are entrepreneurs and can figure out, shut down that product immediately because we're just burning money. And the only reason we were still running that product is because it was Jennifer's pet project. And she's the favorite of the whatever, you know what I mean? Like they'll shut down all the stuff that's not making money because they know how to run a profitable business. It's worth a shot. It still might go bankrupt in a year anyway, but at least you gave the Kenyans a shot. So
depends on
if you've been
how
bragging
this-
about these great jobs on your website, like maybe that would be an alternative to letting the company go
think
bankrupt.
There's some form of impact investment which I like.
Which one?
I'll go back to iHub. I think iHub launched a lot of careers for people.
Yeah.
There are a lot of startups. Sometimes, this now how many, 10, 15 years? I'm like, oh. Then you start seeing like that long-term effect. So mostly iHub was funded by tech companies, Google, IBM,
Right.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
And also they'll put in money and then they'll host events to bring people together for different things, code, mobile app development and all that kind of stuff. I think if you look at, like that computer club that Steve Jobs belonged to, where that a lot of companies grew out of that computer club, right? I feel like iHub was that way. There are a lot of things that came out of that. It was money being thrown there.
Yeah.
And I feel like
It was being managed well. as well.
And I also think like they didn't fund it for, okay, yeah, maybe at the time there was no shared workspace where tech people could like assemble and whatever, but now there is, and there's ones that are owned by private Kenyan developers that are trying to make money. So like if Google is still funding that stuff, they should probably cut it out because they're getting in the way.
Right now
and
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, right. Like, well, because there's plenty of choice. It's a competitive space in shared office space.
And I think at that point, so there was a shared workspace. There's also meeting people and setting up things like mobile app competitions and getting people to up their skills in different whatever tech stacks that were there. So I feel like for that period, at that time, that funding had an impact. That's my
listen,
I mean, for sure, I agree with that.
I'm not making the case that like 100% of the money that's coming to this stuff is like, there's been some real good things. I just think like at some point it's like it's doing more harm than good because you can't build your economy long term with well-meaning foreigners kind of pumping equity into money-losing companies. It's just not going to work. Yeah, I mean, you can, but then you're going to be like prepared. I don't know. Your economy is going to look different.
In countries like China, like if the government wants China to be competitive, let's say in AI, and they know energy is a very big component of that, they'll do impact investment in certain sectors so that it becomes, they know it takes us 10 years to become competitive. So we're willing to lose this money for 10 years. Yeah. And we hope by 10 years we'll have developed the skills, we'll have developed the capacity, we'll understood this problem, and we will have past factories.
And that's the government doing it, yeah?
Yeah, that's the government.
I mean, listen, I mean, let's just to hold the governance, maybe the governance issue can decide. I mean, it's like if the people vote a government in on a platform that we're going to invest in these sectors, it's like it's Kenyans' money. It's their choice to make. The problem here is like it's not like Kenya.
We're stuck with the worst government in all history. That's our biggest problem, actually.
Anyway. That's an African problem. Because, getting into that, although you mentioned that you're no longer in the tech gossip, but initially I wanted your opinion about like there's been carnage the past year, end of a year, and this year just startups shutting down. And for me, how I get a job is I should look at who has raised money. And you look if they have.
Oh, so you're one of these who's learned the language of the white man, so you can work in this space.
Just that he's so black.
See, but now you're giving away the secret now on this podcast. Now they're going to know.
It no longer works because there was no, all the big to mid to big companies. All of them were shutting down or they were hiring freezes. So I was like, oh my God, I couldn't get a job. And one of the things that actually happened was salaries really went down.
Yeah, man.
When you now go to like a proper company and like I want to get a job, like what do you used to earn? We don't pay that amount here because, in essence, they consider a salary was inflated,
right,
by this NGO money.
By NGO money, yeah.
That was coming in for employees like me. It completely changed. And I remember there's somebody who had commented in one of the videos that this is the first time you stayed 7 months without a job. Because those tech companies that were funded by NGOs were providing employment, and it was very easy to switch from one company to the next. Do you think we're going to bounce back from this tech thing?
I mean,
especially with the onset of AI. Like, some jobs you're like, literally, I don't need a human doing some of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think like, individuals, I have no idea. But like Kenya, it's like, it's like when, it's heartless to say, but like when an unprofitable company shuts down, like that's good. It makes room for somebody who can run that business better to get in that space or part of that space or whatever, and there's disruption in the short term, but that's what, makes,
I keep telling you, Sandy fails. There's a problem Sandy was solving. No one is still solving it.
No, right now there are more logistics companies.
Yeah, but they're not tech enabled,
You don't have to be.
But who cares?
Okay, you're right. Who cares? Only me. In my little bubble, because I want that efficiency. I don't have to be
you're well, I mean, I think it'll happen, but I think it'll happen. Like usually these things happen organically. It's like, okay, I know nothing about agriculture, supply chain, or whatever Sandy. I don't know what Sandy did, but like, it's like somehow it's like somebody will have a big enough fleet that they'll need some like fleet management software. And then, so all of a sudden there'll be like another step of tech enabling on top of it, but it'll be like when they need it. Not when like the white guy, when the white savior comes and shows up and decides, like, you guys need my app. Right. I think like these things happen organically.
Trade routes.
These things happen organically.
Your business has
piece
to
by
be at
piece,
a different level. Yeah, I agree with that.
You can't solve, like 15 different problems at once with your
it's true.
So anyway, that's my view.
You start with the app and then go to the problem.
The
problem. Oh, so no luck for people like me. I see.
Such reskilling, I told you, bro.
Yeah,
become a nurse.
I'm
Wipe
thinking
people's
of
bums. You'll never run a lawyer who's taking over that.
In Mozambique, they called them the assimilados, which were like the black population that learned the language and habits of the white man and could work kind of in all these jobs at once. So I think, are you an assimilado?
Reskill.
Maybe half of it. I don't know. Because in my current job, I never search for it like the same way that I searched for my previous jobs.
But could I ask you, like, would you be able to work at like a cooperative bank or something like that?
I worked at a bank.
Oh, you did.
We met
so
at a
you can
bank.
kind of move between the Kenyan-run companies and the foreign run. Okay.
She was my
his
boss.
mind says but I know his spirit cannot.
No, there are certain roles that I hate, right?
Okay.
Something that is too monotonous.
Okay.
I do hate that. I look at something that I bring myself, I can do some research and figure out something and then solve that problem.
Yeah.
But if you put me in a counter or something that has all the processes set, I'll die.
He'll die.
Right. So, who do you prefer working for, Kenyans or whites?
This is a tough question.
It's so easy.
Tell me.
I've had so many bosses. I've had how many white direct bosses? 1, 2, no 3. Actually 3. So the white people are more not understanding. You can play around with stuff around them.
What do you mean by that?
Kenyans will hammer you right there and then. This thing is not working.
Yeah.
We need to get it out.
Yeah.
And this way.
There's a lot of whites out there that can have the wool pulled over their eyes pretty easily by Kenyans.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm sure I can too, but then like I insulate myself with like
No.
people
It depends on the type of white person. You remember when I was taking the call?
Yeah.
How I was getting hammered on that call?
Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, I always say you have to micromanage Kenyans to some level. Because they can just bullshit you. You order to some level.
You know, if you're
anywhere actually.
if you're a developer, for example, and you have specific things to build, and it's well written out what the delivery and acceptance criteria is, it's very hard to bullshit on that. The only thing is whether did they do it according to spec or not, or they're taking longer to do it. I find perhaps the only thing might be that Kenyans might take longer to deliver it, right? Because there's no room for bullshit. If you want to say you're in the marketing and you want to create a marketing plan and what you think should work, there's room for 1,000 bullshits to live in there. Like, no, billboards never work. No, Kenyans love this and that. So there's much more room to play around there. So since I've never worked in that kind of environment, I don't know whether a white boss would be better than a black person.
Yeah.
But I feel like I could also be 50-50 because I've had white bosses who are very cross.
Yeah.
And I've had Kenyans. I think Kenyans are more devious I think so. They're never straight. Oh, no, they're not ever straight. It's, I don't know how to put it.
Can I give a different perspective? Like,
have you ever had a Kenyan boss?
Yeah, I have a Kenyan boss right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my CEO is Kenyan.
Yeah, but I think
But you were the CEO at some stage.
Yes, that's right.
But I think also this is more tied to personality than race. I think it's more tied to personality. If you just get someone who's understanding, doesn't matter.
My thing about white people is that you always have to, you know, the 48 powers of law. If you're smarter than them and better than them, don't ever show in them. Or they're going to get like you. Or they always. It's very true. There's a.
I'm trying to think in my experience whether this is true.
There is a thing where I think in their mind they think you shouldn't be this much. You shouldn't know this much. So you always have to remember when you feel like actually I know
know your place.
Know your place with them. A Kenyan you can argue them anytime. I learned this here. That is my expectation. When you start like, okay, you're
tell me whether I'm right or wrong. I feel like that's more of a cultural thing. And I'll put it this way. The more there's a cultural distance.
Black? Isn't it culture?
No, the more there's a culture distance, the more you feel like we can't. It's the way you meet like your village mate. You talk about all sort of nonsense. Then you come to Nairobi, all of you are black, but he comes from a different tribe. Then that level of
exactly.
nonsense that you talk is still there, but it's a bit reduced.
Yeah.
Then when you talk to an Indian, then it becomes alien. When you talk to a white person, it's like, it's official now.
Yeah.
How are you? My name is Chris. But like a black guy, you start, the interaction starts with an ab. You say, hey, I'm Jinga. It's there's a cultural difference that affects that.
I can tell you, Chris, you may be smarter than me, but I'm like, that's a stupid idea. Like, I wouldn't do that. You wouldn't take offense in that.
Oh, of course
if
I wouldn't.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever had come out of your mouth.
I don't know. Like, I was talking about this on another podcast. Like, this sort of hierarchy system, I don't think like existed in like Kenyan. Like, there was sort of there was like elders and whatnot, but like or let's think like the employee-employer relationship. Like there wasn't that. It's like if everybody pitched in on the, whatever planting and then whatever, and then like it was really good harvest, like everybody would kind of share the upside too, right?
Yeah.
And like I think that like comes more naturally to Kenyans. It's like if the company's doing well, like there should be a profit share and whatever. And I shouldn't hear about like all this fundraising and see the white executives flying business class to Abu Dhabi and whatever. And then like, but we're basically, they can't afford, we only get a 5,000 shilling NIVAS voucher for our Christmas bonus, whatever, right? You know what I mean? Like, it seems like not fair to them, right? And which I think like why the Soko model works really well. It's like where the people, like the owner, everybody owns it. So it's like everybody's at risk and they there's some failures, but they tend to hold each other accountable and need very little regulation, So, I mean, I think like, to me, it's like the businesses that organize themselves more that way are probably going to be the ones that succeed in the long run because just Kenyans are natural entrepreneurs. And it doesn't seem fair to them to not share in the upside when the company's doing well.
I agree.
But the hierarchy thing, I don't know.
It's innate. It's how we're conditioned.
I mean, it's a stupid way to run a tech company, that's for sure. Because like, it's like you don't have
But you
have
say
any...
that aren't Americans very hierarchical in their thinking and their... I tend to
I would
find
say,
like I've only worked for an American company. I was like, wow, the hierarchy that's involved.
Oh yeah?
It's like...
What kind of company was it?
An NGO.
An NGO,
yeah. I was just like, it's like Europeans tend to be a little bit more...
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think like for the companies that really succeed, and if you look at like Steve Jobs after he came back to Apple, like he just cut down all the hierarchy. He just just trashed the hierarchy, and then they became the biggest company in the world. It's like that's not like those things like weren't coincidences.
But I think you said it right, really good. Like if there's no hierarchy, there needs to be accountability.
Yes, to each other,
and
especially
one thing
to your neighbor.
My fellow Kenyans are not good at is accountability.
Yeah.
It's
like
man. It's just like especially the younger generation.
I think you got to give them upside though. Like,
I mean, they're great people.
I
but
wouldn't have accountability without.
I need you to be accountable.
I think this is something from my observation, and if you just broaden it away from tech, especially in Kenya, once an area becomes profitable or there's a lot of money to be made.
Yep.
Then it attracts a lot of shitty people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to find like good, hardworking Kenyans who just want to get the thing done, as long as that area has not become popular or hasn't become profitable, it will run perfectly.
Yeah.
Right.
Once it just starts making money.
Everybody.
You can't people who are just looking at what's the easiest, quickest, fast way
money.
to make money out of this and break all those things like, if hierarchies will help me make money, I will.
Right. People will respond to the incentives you give them. But it's more about like make sure those incentives are aligned with your incentives and the shareholders' incentives, which should be just at the end of the day making, profitability per share, or the value of a share. Like that's the whole point. That's the whole point of the limited company. And yeah, I guess my problem with some of in the impact space is they've organized as limited companies as if they're trying to maximize shareholder value, but that's not what they're doing at all. They're creating like a cozy kind of entrenched management that's kind of in cahoots with the investors that basically live a great life off of the story and not off of actually selling products that customers want and are willing to pay you more than it costs you to produce, which is what you need to do at the end of the day.
Anyway.
Too much. So you said you think we have the worst government, Kenya, huh?
Yeah. Absolutely.
But who would you trade it for in sub-Saharan Africa? What other government would you take that's better?
Sub-Saharan Africa.
I don't know, man. Kenyans don't like it when I say this, and I don't have any opinion on Ruto versus Uhuru. I don't know anything about it, but I do know like this is a pretty well-run place. Don't abduct me.
I could.
What do you think?
While you're thinking about your answer,
Don't say Australia.
And I mean, this I was gonna know in Africa. I'm just
I'm
not. I know. I don't know much about Botswana, but I'm feeling some.
Okay. You've probably picked one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I'll
probably.
give you a free
They seem
Botswana.
okay.
Give me another one.
Yeah.
Sub-Saharan Africa. You wouldn't take South Africa. What? Your power's on 4 hours a day.
No.
Cape Town didn't have any water or something like that, right?
No, definitely. There is someone.
I think this is a really well-run country. Sorry to interrupt you. Thinking
Thank you.
because of the people.
Yeah. It tends to, and
like
they do
we
hold the
figure
government
it out
accountable.
without our government.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
then it's just the people we are. We're just like that's the
and now they're having
that's
these
the DNA of the Kenyan.
Exactly. And they're starting to have these conversations. I mean, it started with like the IMF and stuff. It's like, my employees like at work, they want to know like, why is this extra 5% PA? Like, what's this going for? And it's like the IMF is telling to, which again is like foreigners are sort of meddling with the policy here. But it's like the Kenyans are aware of it now. 10 years ago, nobody knew who the IMF was.
I mean, when you're being taxed, what's the tax rate right now? Employment rate?
35% is the
Isn't
top
it
rate.
more?
And then you have levies, you have
Yeah.
housing, you have NSSF, NHF.
I'd
And
question
that's a fair
my
chunk.
Let me just when Shah kicked in, and I checked how much deducts from my salary. My God!
Is at that point I quit.
I
I find my entrepreneurial spirit.
I just felt like maybe I should not. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. How much they deduct from Shah,
Yeah.
and then on top of that you add the housing levy.
Housing levy. So do you think you're ever going to see any money out of that housing
Absolutely
levy? Do you think one
never.
day, like 20 years from now, and here's your house?
No.
Like, do you,
What
do you
happened to
picture this happening?
NHIF? I mean,
NHIF was-
Right.
yeah, but what happened to the money I put there? I know it, but what happened to the money I put there? This is my question. I ask every day.
I'm
Fuck Ruto, man. They always say he must go. Let him go.
And
Honestly, I
don't-
can't stand that guy.
I don't have an opinion.
I totally said that a bad government is better than no government.
I don't know.
Listen, I mean,
I actually think Kenya
Okay.
can run without a government.
I
to be
don't-
quite
okay.
honest,
My opinion is tax us as much as you like, but let the services be exceptional.
and they're not
also transparent. Like, let's
Yeah.
see where
Yes.
the money goes. Like, that's the thing. Like, maybe 35% is the right number. I don't know.
Yeah, is it-
like maybe it should be 40%.
Wool up, nigga. Wool up. Just wool up.
But like, let's have accountability so we can see
Yeah.
where this money goes. Because like this
I mean-
this housing thing. Like, I mean,
I think
you gotta
low-key Ruto
like-
is trying to get everyone to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, but
survive.
eventually you got to bring them into the tax base. Like they got to pay.
It's Kenya, man.
Yeah, but that's
But we got to have courts and judges and things, right?
For what? They're all
but
corrupt.
but no, but
Like honestly,
but one of the
don't
things,
know.
if Chris does something to me, I can.
but if America-
Wait, okay, then who would you swap for other than Botswana? This is a well-run place. Like it can't have this
but
kind
you
of
see, you
economic
can't
growth.
have.
It won't have this economic growth.
If we take away everything else, the reason why the US has a better justice system is because they have tons and tons of law enforcement who they can employ. You need money to have more judges. You need money to have more police. You need more money.
you need money to be less corrupt.
Yes.
I
You
think
need-
it's like the country getting richer, but but they're squeezing like a small, because you got like a small subset of companies who actually comply with their taxes, right? And then also including PAYE for the employees, right? Like that's it's a very small number of people who pay PAYE, but it's like funding the whole thing. Like it's funny. I think and actually in Safaricom's corporate tax funds, I think like a third of the budget or something.
Yeah. If you consider all the taxes Safaricom pay from VAT to employee tax and corporate tax and all that, it's like now
I looked in this one. It's like import. I think import duty might be like half of like the money, and then like PAYE and corporate taxes, but like Safaricom is the lion's share of the corporate.
Yeah.
And then you got like, companies that comply, which, hopefully you want more companies coming in and paying more taxes, and then more transparency being spent on good things. Like,
But as I
you
say,
can
the
then-
service has to match. And
Yes,
it's
exactly.
not there.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
no,
but
we
so
don't have,
if that money
nothing
goes
matches.
to waste, then that's a problem.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
don't cheer people going off the tax system, because then they squeeze the people that comply more and more.
Yeah, that's why my SHA is here.
right.
Yes, so that according to the SHA philosophy, I am supposed to pay for that poor
Yes.
guy because they can't pay for themselves.
There's another one that always bothers me with like the health insurance. Like I'm happy to provide the employees with health insurance, and also of course the NHF they have access to. But like you're paying for a lot of fraud that other companies like kind of collaborate with their employees on. Like, oh yeah, you can add up to 4 dependents. I don't have any kids. Yeah, but we can put these kids. At this right. And like, it's like how much of our premiums, because we don't do that. And my company's like, how much of our premiums are paying for fraud at other companies where like the management's involved?
You remember,
But I don't, I actually also disagree that Kenya is a well-run country. We're really not.
comparatively.
What? Why we compare ourselves to Uganda, who's had only one president?
Hey, Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Why we're like, what? When I do not think we're a well-run country, actually.
No, if
Like, I
we
really
use
don't.
global standards like
no way.
Scandinavian countries, then
Yeah,
we
don't
are.
stop. Yeah, don't hold yourself up to Switzerland. For God's sake. Like,
should
come
be holding
on.
ourselves up
Like
to-
in Africa, it's up there with the best, right? And I think most of the people in Botswana, if you like gave them the chance to come live in Nairobi instead, they'd spend a weekend here and they'd want to move here, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
I don't know. I think we could do so much better.
Of course, we can and we should by all means.
So much.
If you
of course, we're not perfect.
We're far from perfect. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, man, first of all, I just need
of
cycling
us.
lanes.
Yeah, exactly. Little things,
See, you have your pet project.
And
I just think we just like
You should start an NGO like promoting cycling lanes and
tell him.
pay yourself a massive
And-
salary.
Just go take some
then I-
speak
photos
at
of-
conferences and then use a little bit to buy paint and like paint some cycling lanes.
yeah, and then I embezzle all the funds and then I disappear.
But anyway,
Yeah. Well, with the NGO, you don't need to embezzle it. You just increase your
salary.
and
Just get a
bonuses.
high salary.
and
Keep
then
going up.
I don't
And then
think
just don't move to another country with better cycling lanes. It will defeat the purpose.
I don't think I would survive in that in that world. I like somewhere where we build something. It feels more fulfilling than waking up and figuring 1,000 ways of how to bullshit.
Yeah. So what's right now you're in Kopo?
Yep, CFO.
How's that going?
Kobo. Good. Yeah, I've been there, over 5 years now.
Nice.
Yeah, on to 6 years. Yeah, it's good. It's like
What does Kopo do for those people?
payment software for businesses.
Okay. What does that
only
mean?
in Kenya. So software for companies to help run their business, especially if they're higher volume, 50, 100 payments a day, where you have like a reconciliation at the end of the day. As most people pay digitally these days, M-Pesa or cards, it sort of gives them like basically a tool for all those incoming payments. And then for their record keeping, they can make their outgoing payments as well.
Good.
What's an example of a company that would be ideal custom for Kopo?
Well, you want like, bigger.
If I ran
Bigger, but not so big that they need a customized solution. So like a huge, say international, like say you had an international supermarket that would come here, like that, they probably want to hire their own tech guy and figure out how to custom it. But like, a level below that, like an independent supermarket that doesn't want to build their own software and hire a CTO that maybe has 8 or 15 branches or 20 branches or something like that would be good.
If I ran a beer distribution for EABL and I'm selling alcohol, I need people to pay me. I need to send that money to EABL.
Let me put you in touch with one of our salespeople if that's your side hustle.
He just knows
I'm
about
not
the
here to
money
talk-
coming in and out.
Yeah. I'm not here to promote Kopo. This is I'm here as Chad, so it's okay. But it's it's one of them out there along with PaySapal is another non-bank kind of solution that provides similar solutions. But I think over time it's like the agile tech companies will probably eat more and more of the business of the banks because they'll be able to do it better because the banks sort of still have this impression that banking is vaults and tellers and branches and things like that. And it's really just information, so like the ones that build their own software and respond quicker and innovate faster are probably going to win.
Yep.
That's my thought.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's my view on the market.
Yeah, but the payment space has been. I'm trying to look for a good word. Not saturated. Saturated is the best word for it.
I mean,
it is that is the right word. And I still say it's still so hard for me to send money from here to Uganda.
yeah, it is.
It's
It is
like, I'm
actually
always like,
amazing, right?
Why is
But
it
there's
like
M-Pesa Global.
Yeah, but
Without-
have you ever tried to use it?
Yes.
So, I mean,
It's ridiculous.
recently I've been sending money to Uganda because we've been doing some stuff in Uganda and like paying drivers and things like that.
Yeah.
And like you didn't pay a guy, so you got to pay him. Like that M-Pesa Global is diabolical, and like half the time it's down.
Yeah.
And it's like you
Oh.
do it through a USSD session that times out half the time, and Airtel's not working, and MTN's
It's not
not
that great.
working.
It's not, and I'm like, all this like
And the
companies
interface is bad. It doesn't tell you if you should put
Yeah.
the 256. You know, it's like it's a disaster. Yeah, I mean, international, like, yeah, but I mean, I guess part of it is like a nature of like, we've decided that these countries each have their own currencies, which means they sort of have their own, they need to have their own central banking systems that plugs in. And they'll all have built it slightly different. And then when you try to plug them together, it becomes difficult. So
Yeah.
that's,
I don't know what happened to those. Some idea about having. Like the way the EU has its own currency, that East Africa should
Africa.
have its own
They killed
currency.
the guy who thought of that. What was it?
yeah.
No, but I think they said different countries have different monetary aspirations. Like if you have the same currency, you can't just go borrow the way you like. Kenya can't just go borrow the way they like.
$1 million
Right.
Uganda shillings.
Well, I mean, but that's the problem Kenya has when it borrows in dollars from the IMF, right?
Yeah.
It's like they're paying in the currency of it that they cannot tax in. You know, they don't have the ability to create it. Kenyan shilling, they can tax it. And if that's not enough, they can print it.
We'll start putting strain on Ugandans.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it seems to me that, I don't know, like, I mean, there's disadvantage. I mean, yeah, if like East Africa had a more powerful currency that you could even convert in Japan, because you try to convert Kenyan shillings to Japan,
what
nobody's
is
gonna, nobody's gonna convert it, right? Like even Johannesburg, it's kind of hard if it's outside the airport. Like if you got Kenyan shillings, you know, the bank's like, what? Right?
But
like it's exotic, yeah, but it means you control more of your own destiny, right? And if it's well run, and I think the central bank is one of the really well run institutions here,
Yeah.
as can be seen in the, you know, the stability of the currency over the whole time I've lived here. It's been really stable with some hiccups.
Yeah, I don't know what magic they're doing right now. But,
Yeah.
I was quite sad. Was it beginning of last year?
When the dollar-
I just got a gig being paid by the dollar, and then dollar moved from 185 to 160.
is it Kenyans?
Two.
Is it Kenyans? What they're happy about? I'm being paid in dollars. So proud. Yeah, we've talked
that-
about
Every month your salary gets like 20% off.
deserve it.
Can remember that radicalization story about that bright-eyed girl that came in?
Yeah.
Here's another radicalization one of hypothetically, like overhearing like a couple white expats cheering the depreciation of the currency within earshot of like Kenyans because they're paid in dollars. Like, oh my god, like the Diani trip is so much cheaper. It's like these Kenyans are stuck like petrol's like everything. It's like, dude, they can hear you.
They don't care.
They can hear you. They can hear you. So anyway,
Yeah, but until
if
we
you notice,
get
like
back
I've
our
become
pride.
radicalized. Maybe I've had a few traumatic moments in my life.
Yeah, until we get our pride back as Kenyans. I keep saying, like, you see it in the workplace, there's no pride. There's no pride in being a Kenyan. You'll just listen, take in, absorb, even though you know it's right. And that's why I find it just a difficult place to work in.
Kenya?
Kenya, yeah.
That's why you have your own business.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
I'm still thinking what business I need to set up for myself after I get worn out by startup life.
I don't know how you still do it. How many businesses have you been part of in Kenya?
Like helping advise a couple impact investors here as well. I don't anymore.
Tell them to invest in us. I don't know why.
Yeah,
but
like a couple.
we'll go shoot in Kilifi.
And so, like through them, I've had sight of like tons of businesses, including like the basically understanding the financials of a lot of businesses, and it's kind of funny. It's like when you have the financials, it's like some of these businesses you get the impression like they're massive, but like the press release to like revenue ratio is like tremendously high. Like I can't believe this company's so famous and they got that much revenue last year.
But that fame is what helps raise the
I mean that's the thing. It just becomes which like again it's just
name of the game.
I mean. I don't think it's an attractive way to make a living, right? Like to layer bullshit storytelling on top of a business that's not real. But like everybody can make their living their own way. Like if it,
people have mastered the art.
Yeah, the people master the art.
You're assimilato. You know the language. Give me a few other tidbits. The white man likes to say.
So how's it?
Yeah, and you got to know people at the Gates Foundation. You got to drop names, things
Gates
like that. Yeah, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we don't know anyone. we know nobody. We're nobodies. How's it been like? I guess just working with like the locals. I mean, you've been here what?
Yeah.
15 years.
I mean, now it's the only people I know how to work with, because I've sort of
Sorry.
It's like my whole
Why are you
my
sorry?
whole network is here of anybody I know how to get like anything done, who's good at this, like accountants, lawyers, people who understand credit, people who can sell, people who know how to hire good salespeople. So now it's sort of just the oxygen I breathe.
Okay.
But I'm in it. Like I'm committed. So
you're here to stay.
Yeah, I'm here to stay as long as they'll have
Live
me.
and die in Africa.
I might have my visa canceled after this episode though, because of all the Ruto trash talking. And then I think I trash talked the whites, and so those guys will be on my neck.
Now where are you gonna
They're
go?
gonna be on my neck. But
Welcome to the African village.
yeah. But yeah, it's fun. Kenyans are great.
Have you
Kenyans
worked
are
with any
fantastic.
other Africans?
Yeah. I mean, we at Mkopa we had an office in Uganda that I set up. So Ugandans are fantastic as well. You got to be. I mean, the key in I think these things is you cannot hire based on credentials or referrals. You've got to figure out how to find basically open it up and filter down in a big way from a big pool, because you'll find people who don't have a university degree but can code
Yeah.
So you put them through work simulations and you find out, and then you can hire those ones who don't have a degree, and that's great because it's they can't work for the big banks and they can't work for the big telecoms because their job requirement says you need this degree for this position. And so you can really I mean, I think this is probably true anywhere, but especially here and in Uganda, you can't rely on the credentials. They just tell you more about the kind of language the person can, if they can kind of speak in that right language.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. I think that's.
I feel like that was a dud of an answer.
No.
You're awesome, didn't? I was kind of.
No. It's to me. I'm like,
yeah.
This makes a lot of sense, because I think in Kenya is a bit different, because now startups have made it known that you don't really need a degree, you can get good developers, and all that. But also it has changed for certain corporates in Kenya. It has changed also their mindset, because especially for tech teams, if you want great tech teams, if you start filtering off by
computer science degrees, then, you're not gonna go far.
So that has changed a bit in Kenya. And you'd find if you wanted to pull developer, let's say for Mandela, they went through a coding boot camp. They've been certified. So if you're told the person is good, it's good. Later on, realize, this guy never had a degree. So that has changed.
That's good.
Very much in Kenya, but maybe for other positions finance, marketing, they might still require you to have a degree.
And even better if you can do it. You've got to have a growing company to do this, but you kind of graduate from entry level roles into those positions, because the truth is a lot of these things are not that hard. You smart people, they can learn accounting. You can learn it. There's some people in the company who never studied accounting who just know it better than probably a lot of the CFOs that are out there, just because we focus on it. A lot of these things are not if you focus for a little while, in a year and a half, a smart person can learn their way into a lot of these disciplines. And then they could start off as a bookkeeper and they can kind of do accounting entries. And then if they're curious and they keep asking questions, that's the best way to get a senior person in your finance team. But you got to have a growing company where you can move up people, and it takes some time.
Yeah, that's true. Bob never had a degree.
Really, Bob Coleman?
Yeah, Bob Coleman never
Is that
had.
right?
Yeah,
I
Bob never had. He had a diploma in purchase and supplies or something like that.
Yeah.
And then when he started working for, I think it was Vodacom, then he started selling phones and starting contracts. So I need to know a little bit more about this to sell it better. So he started learning how the things work. And then he was a good salesman, then get promoted to a manager. And then all of a sudden he's a CEO of a tech company. But on the maybe 10, 15 years back, that degree was everything.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you didn't have it, it almost limited your career progression. And in some stages, they even require you to have certifications or a master's degree for you to get in. If you ever look at what do you call it? This not job sections. Who works for a certain company? Or if they're saying, "Oh, we've just hired a new CEO," the first thing they list out his credentials.
Yeah.
Like he has a degree in this, a diploma in this, a master's in that, certified in this and that, because it used to be, or it still is to some point, a very big to decide whether you proceed to a certain level of management. And if we were to talk about impact, bring it back to impact, what these tech companies have brought in, it has shattered that image that you need these layers of.
Oh, well, that's good. I mean, that's healthy, right?
Yeah.
It shattered that you need these layers of education to be very good at something. You just need someone who's committed, can learn,
And curious.
and curious, and like just unless you're in a highly specialized field that needs years of education. Like,
I think they just need to be like smart and like a little bit rebellious, or like not just be told what to do. Like, why? Like, help me understand why. Like, I'm doing this.
But also,
then and is curious, and then they can be like, well, if that's where you're trying to get, let's do it this way instead.
Yeah.
And then like if you can find people like that, you can just take over the world.
Would you agree maybe that especially of people who have a lot of those credentials, they have been trained to think in a certain way, and they never veer off, especially like I think maybe banking. Insurance. Like they never, like, this is how things have been set up. This is how a ledger book should be. And
I mean, that's why I think, in the longer run, like, just agile tech companies who can run a financial, like a non-bank financial institution well, are going to take over from the banks. Cause it's like, coming in and expecting your job to be the same 10 years from now as it is today is like, it's just not going to happen. Things change, payment modes change. Who knows what's going to happen 5-10 years from now in Kenya as far as how people are paying.
Yeah, I think banking 100 years ago and banking right now has
so different.
It's different, but banks, if we were not mandated that our salary has to go to a bank, I don't think a lot of these banks would have that money.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
If I could go and tell them, put this money in my M-Pesa account, I would prefer.
I mean, because Safaricom just shifted the cost curve. It's like, wait a second, it's just information.
Yep.
And you just need an account number, but you already have a phone number, so you don't even need that. So now you just need a PIN and a SIM card. And like, I don't know if Safaricom was the first one to have the idea, but they certainly executed best. Like, they basically made it rain and like turned that into the payment system of the country. It's still amazing. I always think we're standing on the shoulders of giants, because both M-Kopa and then my current employer, neither of them would exist really, I think, without M-Pesa.
Yeah, and I think.
But what do you think? Because I always feel like a lot of companies try to innovate around M-Pesa.
Yes.
It's the only payment solution that...
So we're stuck with this thing
We're
forever.
stuck with it. I mean, as far as a monopoly, it's as entrenched as anything I think I've ever seen anywhere in the world.
What else
right?
would you use?
Like, people think Australia has like a banking kind of oligopoly because they have those 4,
banks.
But like, geez, they should come to Kenya and look how most money
my problem
moves.
is how expensive they are.
Right. Oh yeah, that is a racket. At least M-Pesa, like, below 200 shillings is free. It's like they sort of, it is extremely low cost.
And it's within the same network. I know they have to like
but they
charge
got to
for
run
the infrastructure rubbish.
No.
They're making money elsewhere. I'm sorry, don't charge me transaction fees. Yeah, I think that's rubbish.
They need to charge transaction fees.
Yeah, transaction fees are ridiculous. Too high.
It's as low as it gets
I
anywhere
get around
in the
them
world.
through having an I&M account.
Okay.
And I do from I&M to M-Pesa. I will never.
I will let you to a story. The reason why some of those charges had to be high is initially they were trying to convince these people with their shops to be able to exchange money that you come in there. And a lot of people are like, no. So they had to increase that share that they give to the agent, because right now maybe there are too many and it doesn't make sense. But before other times, there's someone, whatever, in Kajiado with their own shop, and like, we want to become an M-Pesa agent. You hold some money, and if someone comes to you, allow them to withdraw. Other people are like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not holding a lot of cash in my business. So to entice people to do that, they're like, what about if we give you X amount for each transaction? People are like, oh. So that higher transaction value is what got that agent network to be very big. So maybe because the network is too big, they should slash it.
I mean, I don't think it needs to be as expensive as it is.
Yeah, right now you turn your head, you can withdraw your money everywhere. But now also because, and for me, I can't remember the last time I withdrew money because I can make payments.
Yeah. Just and have you noticed like more and more places don't have change these days if you do pay cash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
just
really
I just prefer
going away,
making payments. So that should be a reason. Like, okay, now
I mean, Kenya is going into all this cashless. I hate that shit. Like, just let people pay how they want to pay. It doesn't have to be all digital. Like,
have you ever visited a national park?
Oh yeah.
Right now they don't do cash.
One pay bits.
Yeah.
That's
Makes
ruthless
sense.
nonsense.
Yeah.
Okay, for the government it makes sense because now that's
they don't have leakage.
Yeah, if you go to Ngong Hills, you could pay that guy 50 bob.
Yeah.
And get into the park.
Right.
Right now it's there's a pay bill there.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the tough part with like business owners like cash because like it has invisible costs and that if you take a lot of cash, your employees, especially if you have employees, they can run little scams, right?
Yeah.
Where like if everybody has to pay digital, like those things are harder to do, but then you have the fees, right?
Yeah.
And those fees are easy to quantify and they seem very painful. Where like the cash you're losing, you kind of will never know what it was. You don't know how much leaked out because people paid cash in the bar and whatever.
Majority of the time, like in Ngong Hills, you just pass there with a 50 bob and you give that guy, you get it. You give that guy.
Yeah, okay.
And then he forced like 2 or 3 people to pay with the normals to show that a few people came through, and that was it. So
I think you just admitted to a crime, like live on the airwaves. I have always paid. I have always paid my Ngong Hills fee. Yeah.
All Kenyans are criminals. We were told even by our president.
No, the next time I was there with my bike, I'm like, let me go to the hills. I'm like, no. Everything has to go through the pay bill. From capturing that, like you said, it makes a lot of sense. Where that it goes and blah, 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 we don't know. So if we have a lot of people paying via transactions and fewer people are withdrawing the cash, then that fee should go down.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Any last parting shots on? Yeah, for you.
This has been fun.
It's been fun. Good.
I hope we don't get canceled.
No, we never.
Being cancelled is a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly,
Look, they cancelled Kanye West.
It gives you freedom that you
you don't care. Just do you.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, this is not the channel where we care about cancelling.
Yeah, cancelling helps you to segment your viewers. Like,
you're not for me. But even the ones that cancel, you still watch. That's the best.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah, because
the haters gonna hate.
Yeah, the haters gonna hate. Yeah. Right. Fantastic. Cool. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. That was fun.
Good.
We'll do it again sometime.